Hey, good afternoon, everybody, or good evening, depending on where you are watching the stream, or good morning. We always have a fan joining us from the Philippines. You just never know. We've got a couple of shows coming up for you in addition to this one. I hope you were able to watch Ryan earlier today on the King's Court at 2 o'clock. Coming up tonight, 8 o'clock. Rhino will join me right here on If You Don't Like That. We'll continue to follow NBA free agency. All right, here's what I'm thinking, just based on the messages that I'm receiving and some things that I'm seeing on social media. And you tell me if I'm wrong or not. Sacramento Kings fans, to me, are panicking. Here we are on July 2nd, and the Kings have done nothing thus far in free agency. But if you keep hearing the names of Brandon Ingram, I know you're hearing the name of Levine, you're hearing the name of Kuzma, but you're really hearing Ingram. Ingram hasn't done anything yet, right? Pelicans haven't done anything yet. So maybe they're working out a deal, maybe they're not. There are teams that are being very active, such as the Clippers. It seems like every time I go online, I'm looking at something that the Clippers are doing, as they're retooling their team, obviously, in addition to what they already have with Kawhi Leonard. But, I mean, right now the Kings haven't done anything, but that doesn't mean they're not going to do anything. Just means they haven't yet. Now, I've said this. If we get to like Friday, right, on the 5th of July, and the Kings still haven't done anything, then, yeah, I'd probably get a little nervous. But there's a lot of time left in free agency. All right? We'll see. I think that you want something done immediately, and when it's not, you always think the worst. All right? So, again, it's July 2nd. Okay? And by the way, the season doesn't begin until the middle of October. But, I mean, I think we all know that Malik Monk is not enough, right? It's not enough. I think we know that. So let's see what happens, and then we will judge Sacramento from there. All right, if you want to join the show today, it is very easy to do so. You got the QR code. You have got the link right there. So you can give me a call, and we can talk about this or anything else going on. I don't like talking. I shouldn't say I don't like. I don't talk a lot. I don't understand all the outrage when the men's soccer team loses. I don't understand it. Like all of a sudden you care about the U.S. men's soccer team and you don't care about them until they lose in a big event. I don't understand it. I really don't. The United States men's basketball team lost last summer over in the Philippines for the whatever the hell it was called, right? And nobody said a word. It's like nobody cared. Now all of a sudden the United States men's soccer team loses to whatever the hell tournament they're in, and like everyone's like going freakoid on it. Why? I don't get it. I really don't. All right, here we go. Impatient fans, still a long off season. I would like to see a Fox trade, but that's just me. All right, who are you going to trade Fox for? Like, you want to see a Fox trade? What is it that you're looking to get instead of Fox? You need a point guard, right? We need a wing and a backup center. We can get a backup center in October. That's not a big deal. The reply to Anthony, there is no one in the league that could make a Fox trade worth it. Nobody in the league that can. Come on. What point guard would you rather have that another team would give up? Well, you never know, right? You never know. I mean, look at what happened last year with the Boston Celtics when they made a big trade. and they move Marcus Smart. You never know what's out there. You never know what you can get, right? I mean, Damian Lillard left Portland. He went to Milwaukee. I mean, you don't know. Jalen Brunson. Now, I know that situation's a little different. He was a free agent. Look at what he did for the Knicks, right? So, said we got Len back. Yeah, you got Alex Len back. You think like Alex Len's going to make you into a championship team? Come on now. The guy barely plays. And I like Alex Len. It seems like whenever he's on the floor, he knows what he's doing. But John says, I trust McNair, though if he thinks he's going to make a fast move, that's fine. Well, we'll see, I don't know. When it happens, it happens. Steph Curry for Fox. Nobody would trade De'Aaron Fox for Steph Curry. Now, what are you, out of your freaking mind? Come on, wake the hell up, would you please? If you get rid of Fox, then we need a point guard. Who in the league would trade their point guard for an equivalent level talent? Well, there are a lot of teams that would, based on contractual situations, falling out of favor with a coach. I mean, there's all kinds of reasons. Guys get traded all the time in the NBA, all right? Look at Chris Paul's history in the NBA, just to name one point guard. Point guards get traded. Don't think that point guards are, like have to be with one team their whole career. All right. Is my book still on for November? I never said I'm writing a book 100%. I've never said anything about November about my book, so I'm not really sure where you got that from. All right. Curry is old, not many years left. Fox has more mileage left. You never know. Steph Curry is on the backside of the mountain. De'Aaron Fox is climbing up or near the top of the mountain. He's nowhere near coming down the backside of the mountain. Come on now. All right? The Kings aren't trading De'Aaron Fox, okay, until at least February. At least. They're not trading him now. And I'm not saying they are trading him in February, but I'm saying they're not even thinking of trading De'Aaron Fox now. Not happening. I would be shocked. All right? Period. It's not happening. All right, again, if you want to get in on the program, you got the QR code above my shoulder, and then you also can hit the link. It's all there for you. Here it is again, right in the chat line. So give me a call if you want, and we will talk about anything you want. Rhino joins me a little bit later, coming up at 8 o'clock. Now, I will say this. If the Kings are idle during this period, then you really do have to question, like, what's going on. Because I think that most people look at the Kings from last year, 9th in the West, a non-playoff team, and if you bring back the same team plus a draft pick, you're probably not going to be any better, right? You've already lost Davion Mitchell. Yes, you think you drafted a replacement, and maybe you did, maybe you didn't. And that doesn't make you that much better. You're going to draft a rookie in the first round with the 13th pick out of Providence, and you think all of a sudden that's going to make you a top 4 team? Or no, come on. You got to be realistic about this. But again, it's July 2nd. It's not October. It's July. So I'm not, again, the free agency is 2 days old. And yeah, there's been a lot of signings, and I get that. Like Kyle Anderson. He's a good player. He just signed a 3-year, or he's going to sign a 3-year, $27 million deal with the Warriors. All right. That's a good pickup for them. All right. The Magic, Jonathan Isaac, contract extension. I mean, there are moves that are being made, not big moves, but there are moves. Mo Bamba 1 year with the Clippers. Gary Harris is staying with the Magic. We know about, Klay Thompson is on the move to Dallas. So, I mean, it's not like moves aren't being made, but these aren't like blockbuster moves. Mo Wagner returning to the Magic 2-year deal. A lot of players that you thought were going to be available are not, because they ended up staying with their team, which could, by the way, happen with Brandon Ingram. They're not ruling that out. It was reported that Lauri Markkanen is a prime trade target. I love Lauri Markkanen. I think he's a hell of a player. Nicholas Batum, 2-year deal to return to the Clippers. Again, there's a lot of things that are going on, but not the Kings so far. So far, being the key. So far. So we'll see. Again, it is July 2nd. All right. All right. So John says, does Klay Thompson make the Warriors better or worse when he leaves? It's a good question. There were too many times that I watched Klay Thompson last year where I was like, wow, this guy's lost it. Like, this guy can't play anymore. And I don't know if all of a sudden I'm expecting him to go to Dallas and re-find himself. He just has not been the same guy after his back-to-back injuries with the knee and his Achilles. So I'll see it, and then I'll believe it. But I need to see it before I believe it. So I don't. The Warriors, to me, are a non-playoff team today. Right? Today. I mean, right now, the Warriors, to me, are not a playoff team. Says, Grant, are you surprised by the salaries being signed? Does it seem exorbitant? Maybe due to the aprons. Listen, I am surprised. I don't understand how any team could give Paul George, at this point in his career, a 4-year, $212 million deal. Bad management, but that's Daryl Morey for you. I don't understand how anyone could give James Harden a 2-year deal worth $70 million. Bad management. Now, I'm not surprised at Tatum. I mean, you knew he was going to get the Supermax. So that doesn't surprise me. But yeah, I am surprised by a lot of the deals. Okay? I am. So Kings are running out of rotation players in free agency. Literally just Miles Bridges, who I want no part of. Then DeMar DeRozan's 35. Only Caleb Martin is the only rotational player left. Well, I think that we understood that the Kings weren't going to be active to a point where you were going to fall off your chair with free agency due to their salary structure. We understood that if the Kings were going to make a splash this offseason, it would be most likely via a trade and not free agency. Correct? Right? I mean, isn't that what we all thought? And we'll talk more about this coming up tonight at 8 o'clock with Ryan in Sacktown. But the Kings don't have a lot to work with when it comes to free agency. They'll add a player, but anything that's going to be a big splash is not coming through free agency, folks. It's coming through a trade. Okay? And we've heard the names Harrison Barnes, Kevin Huerter. Some people have said Keegan Murray. That would be bold, but If you're going to do anything in the West, you're going to have to be bold. All right? You're going to have to be bold. They made a bold move 2 years ago when they traded Tyrese Halliburton to get Domantas Sabonis. Buddy Hield, by the way, is still available. You want him back? No. We'll see. Grant, what do you think about the Kings' need at the center position? We definitely need a rim protector to help defend the paint. Yeah, but if that's all the player can do, it doesn't help you. It doesn't. You can't put a guy on the floor. That's all he can do. So, yeah, I do think they need another backup. They have Alex Len, but I do think they need another player. Yes. All right. Again, you're going to get better this offseason, primarily via trade. That's where you're going to be. All right. Again, if you want to call the show, you can do so. Give me a shout. Don't forget Ryan and Sound coming your way at 8 o'clock tonight. We'll be right back here on If You Don't Like That. All right, we got some folks that want to join us. Why don't we say hello to Michael? Michael,
Hi.
how are you?
How are you doing?
Good. How are you?
Doing great. It's hot outside. My goodness. Sacramento.
Yes, I've heard it's. I'm not in Sacramento, but yes, I've heard it's
Oh,
brutal.
where are you at?
I am in Florida.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
It's I think for a lot of Warrior fans, I think they're all gonna miss Klay Thompson when he was his prime. I mean, as a Kings fan, it's a nightmare. I remember, I think when Klay Thompson scored 37 against the Kings, I was like, no,
In
did he
one
really do
quarter.
that?
In
In a
one
quarter. Yeah, I was like, no, how did that happen? I mean,
will never
you were
happen again.
shocked, right?
You'll never see a player score 37 points in one quarter again. That's something that was one of the greatest things I've ever witnessed in all of professional sports.
I think so. I mean, I think that time you were with Jerry Reynolds, and I think
Yes.
he was shocked.
Yeah, we both were.
I mean, I saw the Kings player. I think they were shocked too. I mean, they're like, how does he do that?
Yeah.
I think DeMarcus Cousins, I remember, I think I saw his face. Just I was watching YouTube, and I'm like, oh my goodness. He's like, how did he do that? I mean, I have a mad respect for Klay Thompson. I mean, he's gonna get his jersey retired for sure, and there is no question. I mean, in reality, for the Warriors, is they don't win titles without Thompson. That's the reality.
Yep.
Yeah.
Very true.
And I do have a question. Who can the Kings go for in the free agency? Is there any availability who they can go for?
There is availability. It's limited. There are names that are out there that they could get, but I think Michael, the Kings' biggest possibility of getting better is through a trade, and that's where people say Lauri Markkanen. I like Lauri Markkanen, but he's got the same issue as Brandon Ingram. The guy's hurt a lot.
Oh wow, Lauri Markkanen
is hurt a lot, and so is Brandon Ingram. And guys that, why do you think that Brandon Ingram is even available? He's a very, very talented player. Why do you think Lauri Markkanen is even available? Because they're not very durable. And a lot of people criticize Harrison Barnes on the Kings, but I'll tell you what the guy is. The guy plays every game of every year, and it's
locker
not
room presence.
Liver. He's great in the locker room. I mean, there's something to be said for guys to play every night. If I look at Lauri Markkanen like I have with Brandon Ingram, he only played 55 games last year. The year before that, 66. All right. He's never played 70 games in his NBA career. He's played 1, 2, 3, 4 years of game, 50. He had 1 year of 61, but that was also impacted by the COVID situation. But the guy's never played 70 games in his career.
I mean, sometimes injuries are part of the game. I mean, you just never. I want to get someone who is healthy and play right.
Yeah, you know what? You can't predict health, but you can certainly go by a track record. And to me, I want a guy who is proven in the NBA that he's durable. Could he get hurt? Yeah, anybody can get hurt at any time. But that's the type of player that I'm looking for. I'm not looking for a guy that averages 50 plus games every year in his career. I'm just not. That's not what I want.
Yeah, that makes sense. Thank you, Grant, for the info that I give.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Yep.
I think you have to look at all of those things. You know, again, he's very talented. Brandon Ingram, very talented. All right. So, all right, here we go. Ingram is a mid-range killer, 26, marking in 27, stretch 4. Both are clear upgrades, no doubt about it. Well, they're not clear upgrades if they're in street clothes all the time. I'm sorry. You can't just say they're a clear upgrade. They're only a clear upgrade if they're on the floor playing. If they're not on the floor playing, they're not an upgrade. Just like Zion Williamson. He'd be the most talented player that the Kings have by a country mile. But he's not going to help you win if he's not playing. He didn't help the Pelicans this year in the postseason. Why? Because he was hurt. Like, you can't help a team when you're hurt. All right? So, you have to factor all of that in. Are you going to go out and trade for Brandon Ingram and give up a lot when he's a free agent after this coming season and you don't know whether you can keep him and he's hurt a lot? I put this out on social media a couple days ago because I keep on hearing about Kings fans going gaga over Brandon Ingram. And by the way, I love Brandon Ingram's game. But here are the numbers that stand out to me starting in his rookie year in 2016, 2017. 79. That's games played. Excellent. You ready for these numbers now? 59, 52, 62, 61, 55, 45 2 seasons ago, and 64 this season. Now, part of that was impacted by COVID, such as 2019 and 20 and 20 and 21. So let's just skip those 2 years. 79, 59, 52, 55, 45, 64. You want that? That's what you want? Come on now. All right? Come on. You can't ignore that. You just can't. You can't just say, well, Grant, they're in their prime. And no. You just don't ignore that. So you're going to give up the farm to go out and get a Brandon Ingram? And then what's going to happen when he gets hurt this year? You're going to rip Monty McNair. You're going to say, gee, you know what? The guy's always hurt. Duh. So you can't have it both ways. All right? You can't have it both ways. So just keep that in mind. And also understand that he is a free agent after this season. Okay? So there's a lot of variables involved. When fans go, I want this guy, I want that guy. Well, you better look at everything. All right? You better look at everything. And you better not ignore the numbers that I just read off to you. Like, that's not just a fluke. That's just a pattern. Okay? I don't want a player with a pattern like that because you think things are all of a sudden going to change and he's going to play 75 games every year. Don't see it. Jason, welcome. How are you, Jason?
I'm good. How you doing?
Good. Thank you very much for calling. I appreciate it.
For sure. Yeah, I wonder, everybody talks about all these players they want, but who are we giving up?
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, you're not getting them for free. Thank you very much. Yep.
Yeah.
There you go. You think Brandon Ingram? You're not going to get Brandon Ingram for chopped liver.
Exactly. I mean, I hear it all the time. Like, oh, we want Markkanen. Like, I want him too, but we giving up Keegan? Is that what we're doing?
I wouldn't.
Right. I mean, I think Utah, that's all they're going to want, right?
One thing that Keegan's shown is he's fairly durable. Yeah, he's missed some games, but not a ton. And he's only played 2 years. He got significantly better in year 2 than year 1. I'm expecting it the same type of jump this year. Why would I trade that guy for someone that averages 55 games a year?
Exactly. I mean, only the up and up, and he seems like a guy that buys in. You got Sabonis.
Yep.
You got there's such a good core going on right now, and I know I've been a Kings fan since Jason Williams, right? I'm one of those
Ah,
guys. Like,
yeah.
as a kid, wearing that jersey over and over, people in the neighborhood, hey, do you need a new shirt, kid? Like that was me. And yeah, so I mean, I've seen it, I mean, the highs of it to the point where we are now. I'm like, hey, I wish we could win a championship. Like, I hope we win a championship, but come on, guys, there are some lean years there, and there's like a solid core. And I think Monty, with what he's done in the draft, I don't think he gets enough credit. I mean, at the picks that he's hit on, to
Yeah,
me,
he's done very well in the draft. And, as far as winning the championship, you can't win the championship if you don't make the playoffs. And the Kings did not make the playoffs last year, and that's not acceptable.
I agree. Do you think that's on? I mean, I
It's
don't
on
want to be too
everybody.
critical. Yeah, that's fair. That's fair.
I mean, it's on everybody. I mean, it's on Mike Brown, it's on Monty McNair, it's on the owner, it's on everybody.
Yeah, there's some wild games last year where you're watching them and you're like, I don't know what this team is. And other games you're like, this could be the best team in the league. It's a wild roller coaster of being a Kings fan, right?
And you can't win like that. You win in professional sports with consistency. You don't win with a Jekyll and Hyde team. And the Kings last year were Jekyll and Hyde. You know that. You follow them. They were just not only Jekyll and Hyde from game to game, Jason, but quarter to quarter.
Quarter to quarter. So many times they'd be up by 20, 30, and you're like, I've never seen a team up by 20 or 30 going into that second half. Like, I don't feel comfortable with this.
Happened all the time.
Happened all the time.
Yeah.
Yeah. I just want to say thanks, Grant. You're the best.
Thank you, buddy. I appreciate you taking the time to join us here, and do it again, and enjoy the rest of your Tuesday.
I appreciate it. Thanks, Grant.
Hey, I appreciate you. Thank you very much. Again, if you want to get in on the show, it's that easy. All you need to do is hit the QR code or click on this link, and that will get you right on the show. Appreciate Jason taking the time to call the program. I believe he's first time, at least with me. Maybe he's been on with Rhino, but I'm happy to have really first-time callers. It's nice. Very happy to have that. So a lot of people talking about Miles Bridges. He said, but he is a felon in California. Yeah, you can't ignore that. But you can also, I guess there are two ways of looking at this, okay? If you use other athletes that are convicted felons and serve their punishment, like Michael Vick comes to mind, because he's probably maybe the most high-profile athlete that fit that. He spent 2 years in federal prison, right? He paid his debt to society as deemed by a jury and a judge, okay? Does that mean when you come out of prison that you forfeit your right to make a living? No, it does not. Does that mean that you automatically pick up your life where it left off? No. But when you pay your debt to society, it doesn't mean that the egregious act or acts that you committed disappear, but it means, okay, you have served your punishment, just like when you were a kid and your parents punish you, whether it's a timeout or you lose your allowance or you get grounded, right? You get grounded, let's say, for a week, or you lose your phone for a week, whatever the case may be. Okay, well, at the end of the week, you get your phone back, right? Or you aren't grounded anymore and you can go out. You're not grounded for the rest of your life. You don't lose the phone for the rest of your life. So in the case of Bridges, okay, yes. But does that mean he can't live his life forever? So that's how you look at it, all right? Or that's how I would look at it. Just the way it is. Well, Giddey was investigated and wasn't convicted, so that speaks for itself. The girl most likely lied about her age when he was 20. That thing, and I told, Ryan asked me the question on this last year. And I said to Rhino, I go, I don't know this for sure because I'm not part of the investigation. But in my experience of being in professional sports, when a player has allegations as serious as Giddey had, a team would not allow that player to participate if they felt the allegations were true. They would suspend him, put him on a leave, and pay him while the investigation is ongoing. Teams do their own investigating. Teams know what the truth is before you do. Trust me. I've been there. I know. They know. Okay? The Oklahoma City Thunder knew that the allegations were erroneous. Okay? And that's why he continued to play and didn't miss any games. Do you think that the Oklahoma City Thunder would have allowed him to play if they knew if the allegations were true? Of course they wouldn't. They know. And I said that to Ryan. I go, Ryan, the fact that he's playing tells you, and this was before we knew about the outcome of the NBA investigation. I said the fact that he's playing for Oklahoma City and that they have not given him a leave of absence or put him on administrative leave or whatever you want to call it tells you all you need to know. You got to read between the lines. Okay? So there are different circumstances for different situations. All right? There you have it. You have to look at everything. All right. So if the Kings don't become active in free agency, I'm okay with that, but they need to make some trades. All right? That's the one thing we do know. They made a trade with Davion Mitchell and Sasha Vezenkov for two reasons: to get below the tax threshold, give them more money, and open up a roster spot. Now, what are you going to do with that? What are you going to do with that? All right? I like that, John. One rant from Grant. I like that. We'll see. Starting here in a couple of weeks, I'm going to do a daily feature where you are going to pick out my rant. And then I'll look through the ideas, and then I'll do a rant for you. That's going to start here in a couple of weeks. But I'm looking for a name. Rhino's good at this. I like that, though. One rant from Grant. That's good, buddy. John, I don't think you were capable of thinking like that, buddy. I'm at your older stage in life, like yours truly. I'm impressed, buddy. That's good. Here we go. Speaking of allegations, Kevin Porter got picked up by the Clippers after being out of the league last year. What do you think of that, Grant? Again, I just went through it. I just went through it. But the Rockets made a decision that they were not going to continue on with that partnership. So, here's the one thing we do know about professional sports. Okay? All it takes is one team. One team to say, you know what, we're going to turn our head the other way, and we know what you did was horrible and egregious, and we know that we're going to get destroyed by media and everything, but if you help us win games, people then will turn their head the other way and they won't write about this or that. And it happens all the time in every sport, all the time, right? And so teams always, for the most part, have one criteria in mind. Do you help us win or not? And you as a fan are guilty of this too. And don't tell me you're not, because you are, okay? If you're a Giants fan, you were standing and cheering for Barry Bonds every night, knowing full well that he and others were cheating. When he comes back to San Francisco and he's in the crowd and they announce him, you give him a standing ovation, right? Because you turn your head the other way because he helped your team win games and he was exciting to watch. So you lowered your standards and your ethics, and you decided that you were going to cheer for that individual. Why? So I already laid it out why. That's how fans are. Not 100%, but a high percentage. I think it's sad, personally. And I'm not just talking about Bonds. I'm talking about in a lot of these instances. I think it's sad that as a fan, you will turn your head and allow your standards to be lowered because an individual helps your team win. I think that's sad. Happens all the time. It happens all the time. It's the way we are. All right. All the time. When am I going to apologize to Doug? Why would I apologize to Doug? What would I apologize to Doug for? Thanks for not turning your head, Grant. I've never turned my head, and I never will turn my head. Right? As Martin Luther King said, our lives begin to end the day we remain silent about things that matter. I'm not silent about things that matter. Okay? I'm not. All right? I'm just not. If something matters, then I speak up about it. Are Grant t-shirts still for sale? We are going to have new merch coming out in the fall. And when it comes out, I will alert you to it in my team store, and you'll be able to take care and get whatever you want. Okay? So there you have it. That's your information on merch. Okay? On merch. Again, our lives begin to end the day we remain silent about things that matter. A lot of people turn their heads when it comes to their sports teams. It's just the way it is. And you, as a fan, have to decide what you are going to accept and not accept. And I was grateful when my son's favorite player was Derek Jeter. I was like, wow, man, how lucky am I as a dad that my son's favorite player is Derek Jeter and he wanted Derek Jeter jersey and this and that. And I'm like, could not pick a better role model, a better athlete to idolize as a young boy or girl than Derek Jeter. I loved it. And they also loved Eli Manning. And I'm thinking, wow, okay, I'm a lucky dad. Yeah, you want an Eli Manning jersey or a Derek Jeter jersey for your birthday? Yeah, no problem. You can wear that anytime you want. Anytime you want. So, you know, I keep getting this. When is Monte McNair going to do something productive? You mean like trading Tyrese Halliburton and getting a 3-time All-Star and Domantas Sabonis? Come on now. You know? Come on. You know, you act like Monte McNair's done nothing. Monte McNair's drafted very, very well. Okay? And yeah, I would like to see him make a move too, but it takes 2 teams to make a move. All right? All right, here's a good one. What do I think of the Trevor Bauer situation? I talked about this when it was ongoing, and I'm going to talk about it currently because you asked the question. I think Trevor Bauer is a sexual deviant, but I don't think that there's anything wrong if that's the route that you want to choose, if there's a consenting adult that you're having that behavior with. If that's what you're into, if adults are consenting to it, then I'm not bothered by it. Okay? Obviously, I'm bothered by any act of violence that is unwarranted. I would have a problem with a victim in a situation like that. But if it's a consenting adult, which has been proven that the individual that caused Trevor Bauer to exit Major League Baseball was after one thing and one thing only, and that was money. It's been proven. He's been exonerated, and I don't think he should have lost his career. And I think he should be pitching in the major leagues. And if you want to say, boy, I'm really against what he likes off the field, that's fine. But if it's consenting adults, why would it bother you? You know, there are a lot of people that are outraged that Bill Belichick in his 70s is dating a 24-year-old. Why? Why would you care about that? Does that affect your life? She's 24 years old. She's an adult. She can make whatever decision she wants, regardless of what the reasons are. Maybe it's a genuine relationship. Maybe she wants money. I don't know what but the point is, why would that affect your life? All right? Why? Like, what part of your life would be upset that Bill Belichick is dating a 24-year-old because he's in his 70s? Why? Like, I don't understand that. What part of that bothers you? Yeah, maybe you wouldn't do it. Maybe you would. Maybe you'd be upset if you had a daughter who was 24 and all of a sudden she brings home, you know, a man in his 70s. I see that. As a parent, I can understand that. I would have real issues with that myself. But I don't have an issue if it's in your family. I don't care. Doesn't bother me. So what? Bill Belichick's going out with a 24-year-old. You know what I say? Good for him. Is he happy? Is she happy? That's all that matters. Life is short. Enjoy your life. Don't get caught up in stuff that doesn't concern you or doesn't bother you. Like, so what? Like, with all the problems going on in our country right now, which are numerous, okay? You're worried about Bill Belichick dating a 24-year-old? Who cares? Seriously, who freaking cares? Get a life. If that bothers you, I don't know what to say to you. I don't know what to say. It's two consenting adults. They're not doing anything wrong. They're not out breaking the law. They're not asking for publicity. You know, it's like Taylor Swift and Jason Kelce. You know, everybody goes gaga over this. Again, like, so they're having a genuine, affectionate, maybe it will evolve in the marriage, and yet the cameras are on these people 24 hours a day. Like, I don't need to see that. Like, I just, like, people are people, right? People, Taylor Swift has a life just like you and I have a life. Okay? Like, when she's performing, she's great. When she's on tour, yeah, she's great. But guess what? When she's not on stage, she has a normal life or wants to have a normal life just like you and me. I don't know why people have such a difficult time sometimes understanding that. I just, Bill Belichick going out with a younger lady has zero interest for me. Zero. All right, what does have interest for me is Rhino in Sacktown, and he is going to be coming on with me at 8 o'clock tonight. That's at 8 o'clock coming up tonight, right here on If You Don't Like That. You know, we went off the rails a little bit today, huh, with some of the questions, right? And again, we'll see whether the Kings, they might make a move before we come back on at 8 o'clock. You don't know. What do I miss the most about announcing? I miss close games and game-winning plays. That's what I miss the most. Because it's a great question. When you announce a game, whether you are announcing for a team that is one of the best in the league or the worst in the league, you can announce a 48-minute basketball game or a 60-minute football game or whatever, or a baseball game. And when you're announcing the moment, You never know what's going to happen because everything is spontaneous. Like when I went and did the Warriors game that year when Klay Thompson had 37 points in one quarter, you could never imagine that in a million years. And I was very appreciative of how many fans reached out and praised me for the way I called that, even though Klay Thompson didn't play for the Kings, and that meant a lot to me. But we as announcers are judged by how we call the big moments. And I always used to live, like most announcers, for the big moments. But you never know when the big moments are going to occur. Like Bogdan Bogdanovic's game winner against the Lakers a couple of years ago, right before Christmas. You never know when those big moments are going to happen. And the only thing that a fan will remember from those 48 minutes is how did you call the big moment? Did you nail it? Is it the number one play on SportsCenter? Is it a play that's going to live in infamy? Like the Tyreke Evans shot against Memphis that is replayed over and over again in Sacramento, or the 35-point comeback in the third quarter at Chicago with Tyreke Evans. Thank heavens for Tyreke Evans. To this day, and you know me, if you follow me, I don't say this, but in 32 years of announcing basketball, I personally think that's the best quarter of basketball that I've ever announced in my life, that fourth quarter. I told this to Ian Eagle 2 years ago after he announced the playoff game when Charles Davis, his regular partner, was not working because of COVID, and he did the game with Trent Green. It was the Bengals. I want to say it was the Bengals and the Titans, but I may be wrong. But I watched the game, and I thought Ian was perfect. And it's really not possible to announce a perfect game. I've done thousands of games, and I've never been perfect for a game. But I texted Ian after the game, and I said, hey, I just want to let you know, I don't believe that perfection is possible in our industry. I've announced many games like you, and I've never hit perfection. I said, but I think you were perfect tonight, because I really believe that he was. That's a really high, it's a high level, if not impossible level to obtain when you're announcing a game. So what do I miss the most about announcing? I miss the spontaneity of a close game where something great is going to happen, and yet you don't know that something great's going to happen, and you have to nail it. I always used to live for the big moments. I prided myself on the big moments. I made sure I was always ready for the big moments with all aspects of everything. Is the game at home or is the game on the road? If the game's at home, I have to call it differently than if the game is on the road. All the variables, like everything that goes into it. So that's what I miss the most. Very good question. Very good question. I miss that a lot. I do miss that a lot. The big moments. And if you follow your favorite announcers, whether it was Chick Hearn, whether it was Bill King, Vin Scully, Dick Enberg, like I'm trying to pick out names from the West Coast. You know what I'm talking about. All right? So that's what I miss the most. That's what I miss the most. All right. 8:00 tonight. All right. 8:00 tonight. Rhino in Sacktown and yours truly. We'll go over the latest in NBA free agency and more. Thanks for joining me today on my Open Forum Tuesday. We're back here.